Recording started.
Hey guys, welcome back. This is going to be an audio video test of the Viofo WM1. Right now I'm speaking to you live directly to the camera. It's filming in 2K at 30 frames per second and the bit rate is set to maximum 28 megabit per second. And it's daytime, so I've got the CPL filter installed.
Recording started.
Hey guys, welcome back. This is going to be an audio video test of the Viofo WM1. Right now I'm speaking to you live directly to the camera. Right now it's filming in 2K at 30 frames per second and the bit rate is set to maximum 28 megabit per second. And right now I have the CPL filter removed for the nighttime footage. Hey guys, welcome back. First off, this is a sponsored review. The nice folks at Viofo were kind enough to send me their brand new entry-level budget dash cam, the WM1. And they sent this to me 2 months ago, and I've been playing with it, trying to learn as much as I can, and I'd like to tell you about it. and I consider myself a very basic amateur dash cam user. So if you're looking for a professional expert opinion, I suggest you check out the reviews from Robert at Retro Car Guy 530 and Vortex Radar. I'll put the links to their videos down below. So the first thing I want to mention is the test footage you watched at the beginning of this video. I don't have proper editing software, so in order to make this video I had to mash it down to 1080p. So the image quality from this camera is going to be at least twice as better than what you saw. And if you want to see a much better, truer representation of what it looks like, I'll put a link to the full quality original test footage down below. And keep in mind, my car is a 2004 model year, so my original windshield is 20 years old, and it's got 20 years of wear and tear and rock chips on it. And you can really see the artifacts when I pass under the street lamp, so keep that in mind. So the WM1, what's so special about this camera and why does it exist? Well, I think it exists for two reasons. Number one, Viofo customers have been asking for more screenless dash cam options, and Viofo dash cams are pretty popular, and they usually come with an LCD screen. And customers are now realizing with the Wi-Fi app, you really don't need the screen. You just need it for one time to set it up, change your settings, and you pretty much never use it again. So without an LCD screen, they can make the camera smaller, they can use less power, and cheaper. So, and the second reason why I think this camera exists is when this was released, I immediately thought of the Garmin Mini 2. And that camera is really popular. It's probably the best dash camera in its class, but it's 2 years old now, so the 1080p resolution is looking pretty shabby compared to the 2K resolution of the WM1. And another reason is it doesn't have GPS, so it doesn't show your speed or your GPS coordinates on your recorded footage. So if you're a fan of the Garmin Mini 2, I think Viofo is trying to lure some customers away from Garmin and get them into the Viofo brand. So let's start off with some pros and cons and final thoughts. First, I want to tell you the cons. So well, let me tell you how much this thing costs. Right now, this thing was just released on Amazon, and it's on a current promotion for $90, and you get a free $17 CPL filter. And there's another super secret promotion where if you buy it on Amazon and enter your Amazon order number, Viofo will send you a 64 gig Viofo branded SD card, and that's for $33. And the only reason I know about this is because I'm signed up to the Viofo newsletter, and they send you an email every time there's a new camera coming out. So I'll put a link to this down below, and you might want to sign up for those emails so you can get offers like this. That's pretty smart, because what it does is you have to submit a ticket, like a tech support or a customer service question. So it shows you how to get answers from their tech support real easy. And since we're talking about SD cards, Viofo has updated their SD card recommendations, and now there's only 3 recommended cards. The Viofo branded one, SanDisk Max Endurance, not to be confused with High Endurance, and the SanDisk Extreme. And these are 6 cards they specifically do not recommend. Alright, so pros and cons. So let's do the cons. So my first con is there's no STARVIS 2 image sensor. Right now, currently, that is the best sensor on the market, and it's only in one dash cam, and that's the Viofo A139 Pro. But it costs almost 3 times as much as this. So if you want the latest, greatest image quality, you're going to have to spend almost 3 times as much to get the A139 Pro. Number 2, there's no HDR. There's no 60 frames per second option. It only does 30 frames per second. There's no 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. It only has 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, and that 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi is going to work perfectly fine when you're using the app to change settings and configure things, but when you're downloading video footage, it's going to be excruciatingly slow. And what I mean by that is a 1-minute video file of 200 megabits, it takes 87 seconds to download. And to compare that with the A119 Mini that has 5 gigahertz, it only takes 18 seconds to download that same clip. So imagine being at the side of the road after an accident. The difference between 18 seconds and a minute and a half is going to feel like an eternity. So I really don't like that it doesn't have the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. My next con is this mount and hinge design, and what I mean by that is the very first time I used this camera, this is the mount right here that attaches to your windshield. So it's going to look like this when it's on your windshield. And the very first time I pushed one of these buttons, I pushed the button and look what happened. I changed the angle of the camera. It was looking up at the sun. And I really don't like that, because I've tested another dash cam that had this same hinge design and it didn't have this problem because the hinge was much stiffer. So hopefully future models they can make this a stiffer hinge, or maybe you can do a modification and stick some tacky something in there to make it more stiffer yourself. So when you're pushing these buttons, don't just push them with your finger like this. You've got to grab it with 2 fingers and push the buttons like this so you don't change the alignment. And my last con is the camera. It comes with this my least favorite power cable connection of any dash cam, and that is the one-piece power cable design, where it's got the car charger on one end and then it's got the USB Type-C on one, so it's one piece. And I really don't like this because it really limits the flexibility of how you can use the camera, because what they normally do is include with their cameras is a separate car charger that has 2 separate USB slots and then a separate USB cable. And the reason why I prefer this 2-piece design is because usually you want to tuck this wire into your headliner and then down your A-pillar, so you don't have to look at this wire for the life of the camera. And if for some reason this charger malfunctions and fails, you're going to have to dig into your headliner and your A-pillar to replace this one-piece cable, and that can be a pain. And the second reason is the very first dash camera I ever bought, it came with one of these, and I got rid of the camera, but I kept the cable. And I tried to use the cable with another camera, and it did not have enough amperage or current to run the camera, so it was giving me power starvation issues because it didn't have enough power to run the newer dash cam. So if you've got a 2-piece design, you're pretty much it's real easy to swap these out if it fails, or if you need one that has more power. Alright, so that's my cons. Those are my nitpicks. So let's talk about the pros. So my very first pro is the price. At $90, and you can get a free CPL filter and SD card. That's a $50 value. So that's a pretty good value for 90 bucks. The small size I like the low power consumption. It has an average, or approximately 1.9 watts of power. And to put that into perspective, if you're going to be running a dash cam battery pack like a Black Box My Car PowerCell 8 that has an industry standard of 96 watt hours, and so that means this camera will run for 50 hours in parking mode. And to put that into perspective, an A139 Pro in 1-channel configuration, it's around 4 watts. So it uses about half as much power as a A139 Pro in 1-channel configuration. And my next pro is this has low heat generation. I used an infrared camera, and the WM1, it runs considerably cooler than the A119 Mini. I want to say about 40 or 50 degrees cooler Fahrenheit. So that right there tells me that this would be an ideal candidate for a hot weather climate. My next pro is there's no screen, so it's going to be much smaller and less power. And it has both codecs. It does H.264, and then it's got a hidden H.265 codec by long pressing the mic button. And that can save you 15% on your data file sizes, but keep in mind H.265 might have complications playing back on other equipment. It has voice notifications to let you know what's going on with the camera when you have a SD card memory error, or it's not recording, or the GPS is, or the Wi-Fi is on or off, and so forth. And that can be disabled. And of course, like all Viofo cameras, they've got good customer service, tech support, and warranty. You get a 1-year warranty and 18 months with the product registration. And as far as all dash cams are concerned, Viofo is constantly listening to their customers and making adjustments and fixing things and doing their best to make sure that they're real good on tech support and customer service. And final thoughts, I'm going to say if you can get this camera for $90 and you can get the free CPL filter and free 64 gig SD card, that's a $50 value. I think this is a good entry-level option. And another way you could use this camera is, say you've already got a front and rear camera and you want to add side cameras. This would be a very good candidate for a side camera. You can stick this on your side window and have some auxiliary views for left and right, because I've seen complaints on the forums where people got in an accident and their front and rear camera, it didn't really capture the accident because it was on the side. So this might be a good auxiliary camera for side view. So I'll put the full specifications down below in the description box. And my last question I always ask myself during these reviews is, would I recommend this camera, and would I buy this camera with my own money? And the short answer to that is no. And the reason why is because for $10 more you can get a Viofo A119 Mini for $100 right now on Amazon, and it fixes almost all of the cons. It's got HDR, it's got a 60 frames per second option, it's got the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, it doesn't have that mount hinge design, because when this is mounted to your windshield and you push these buttons, it doesn't affect the view of the camera lens. And you get the two-piece power cable. The only thing it doesn't fix is there's no STARVIS 2 on this yet. So so for $10 more, I would say go for the A119 Mini, and you miss out on the free CPL filter and SD card. Alright, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.